things to influence and introduce variance in the systems that we're operating. And cybersecurity is doing the same, but it's doing it from a slightly different perspective. And the different perspective that cybersecurity is doing it from is that the things that cybersecurity is looking at are actually intelligent. They are not random instances, they are not deviations from process or similar, all of which we generally have processes and systems in place to try and protect. For example, introducing the human element of mistakes or just human variance into our management systems. We're good at controlling that. But the thing is, with cybersecurity, the party that is actually seeking to introduce these changes, these deviations into systems, is an intelligent third party that doesn't share our values. If we think back to that background and our core principles that I mentioned. So we have basically somebody who is seeking to modify or adjust our systems with different aims to ourselves. And cybersecurity is all about how we recognize that exists and bring those kind of things into control. Now, you're probably thinking, well, this is very much like we already do in terms of management of risk or management of safety. Absolutely. And cybersecurity is building into all of these existing controls and existing management systems that we have. It doesn't stand alone. Another area, though, as I mentioned just in the introduction, that is an area of challenge is just the pace of change that occurs with cybersecurity. Our systems are not really built at the moment to deal with something that changes so quickly. And so this is another area that we may need to look at how we change our approach, we think outside the box. And an example I can give you here is, in the IT world, with email systems and business computing and similar, it is entirely normal for maturity assessments to ask the question, do you patch your system within 28 days of a vulnerability being notified? And that is generally held in the business IT world as 28 days is the right level of exposure, the exposure window where things could be exploited or attacked before you close it. That's the balance between introducing change into the business and being exposed to a risk. But we know with operational systems that 28 days is an emergency delivery at best. It can, in many cases, be entirely impossible to deliver change in 28 days. And so we need to look at how we manage these kind of expectations. And then we've got the third bullet here about non-conformist culture and why cybersecurity is different. And I said that I was using the terms cybersecurity and information security. Now, when we conjure into our head the image of a cyber attacker or somebody doing cyber, what we tend to think about is somebody hunched over a laptop, wearing a hooded top, in a dark room, tapping away, normally in silhouette. There is definitely a very clear image of basically non-conformist, of somebody who is working against the establishment. And because it has such a strong image attached to it, it actually means that people who work within cybersecurity tend to identify in one form or another with this kind of ideal. So attackers quite often will be motivated by some kind of countercultural drive or trying to disrupt things. It fits very well with that image. But likewise, to be effective on the defense side, you need to understand how the attackers think. You need to be able to relate to them in some way. And people who are generally a bit more lawful are the people who would generally move towards the defence. We often call them white hat attackers or white hat hackers because they are working for the benefit of organisations. Now, it does mean that they still have at least one foot in the camp of this non-conformist culture. And that doesn't sit well with building a formalised management system. Formality is almost the opposite of what many of these individuals are looking for. And so we start to talk about information security. And this is where the distinction between cybersecurity as a cultural thing that is associated with that hacker sitting at a laptop with their hood up, that's generally associated with cybersecurity. And information security generally relates to the formality, the much more business-sensitive and business-centered approach. So we've got this concept of information security, and information security management systems, ISMS, is something that basically sits alongside safety management systems, quality management systems, and as we know, increasingly integrated management systems that bring the benefits of all of them together. Now, ISO 27001 is the international standard for information security management systems. Now, interestingly, it is very focused on business systems as opposed to operational systems, but the principles very much still apply. And there is no reason why an information security management system can't integrate with safety management systems, quality management systems, or any other management systems that you have within your operation. The difficulty is that actually a lot of the advice and a lot of the companies that are set up to help you establish an information security